found it.
You found it?
There's an exterior, the only thing that's pressing the wire coming out of there, and the only other thing that's going to set it is that big exterior light.
What's up there?
It's an oxide.
It's kind of really large and it's enclosed, so I'm not really familiar with it. So that's probably what's doing it with the external. Yeah, that'd be great. I'm going to go ahead and use this other saw to cut those things up, I think. The reciprocating saw. I'm just going to use that.
Yeah, like
both
put on the big ones, and then ones we can't cut with the hand cutter.
Right. And then you want the little ones down
It's in the rock.
It's
The little ones
behind the.
stay, as long as we can cut them with the hand cutter, they never break them for
Okay. Okay, very good. Yeah.
They don't eat us.
Their jaws are very sharp, strong, and you can't catch them. But they'll go back out in the wild.
Water.
Look at this one. He's trying to climb up there.
His nails are sharp on that.
Yes, his nails are sharp.
He hurt his butt.
Oh, he made it. That other turtle pushes him off.
Who's that on you?
It was a fly. You just do it over there and let's look it. Over here. Do you see?
It's called this.
It's called this.
I see
It's a
it.
gecko.
Gecko. I see his foot.
You see its foot?
I don't want to see his face.
Well, he's hiding his face.
I can
What do you see?
I see that.
The monitor.
The monitor. That's a turtle on that foot.
Did you see the big snake over there?
Behind on the wall.
No. Hey. Wow.
You found it. Don't tap on the glass, remember?
When I do that, do that.
He does. Did he stick his tongue out at you?
No.
No.
Is it just like the one on the bottom? Or?
Yeah.
See what's its name.
Careful. Come here. His tongue out.
I'll be doing y'all's tour today. Just let me know when you guys are ready to go out.
Okay, whenever you're ready, it's fine.
Okay. She's been here with us for quite a while. She got hit by a boat, and she was also tangled in a net. So she lost her flipper right here, her right flipper. We actually had to amputate it because it was very infected. Indy!
Well, we gotta we're talking about this one first.
And when she got hit by a boat, she was really sick, so she developed shell rot, which is like a type of fungus and mold that grows on their shell. That's this like area on the sides where it's like peeling and looks discolored. I'm not quite sure how long Indy's been here with us. I know she's been here since March because that's when I came here to start volunteering, but I don't know how long exactly. She's been here for a little bit though. We also hand feed her, so that's why she always comes up to the top and saying hi, yeah.
So do most of these animals come from like fishermen and such like that they notice that they're
No,
damaged? Or?
usually like fishermen or anybody that's like about in the water like that, don't touch them because they're endangered and it's a felony to touch endangered species. So usually they'll call like a game warden, Texas Parks and Wildlife. We also have a turtle patrol called PIMS, and they basically just drive up and down the beach all hours of the day and pick up turtles that they find. Usually if there's a beach turtle, like when they walk up on the beach, it's not a good thing. If it's out of nesting season, it's definitely not a good thing. It usually means that they're really sick or injured. Hey, sweet little guy. I have another one that's way bigger. This is Matilda. I don't know if I mentioned this. This is a green sea turtle. The same one in Nemo, if you've ever seen Nemo.
Oh yeah, slight
So
size
this is
difference.
Matilda. Matilda is the turtle that got hit by the boat, that she had that portion of her jaw messed up. Matilda is a Kim's Ridley. It's the rarest sea turtle and the most endangered sea turtle. She's actually full grown. She's 20 to 30 years in age. She's the smallest too, so all other sea turtles get a lot bigger than she does. So when she got hit by that boat, she is missing her left flipper. She's missing a portion of her jaw, and she also got a large portion of her shell cracked and hurt. That's this discolored area right now. She spins around for you. So when that happened, a whole bunch of air got trapped in her shell. So now she's what's called a floater, and that's why she's here with us forever. She'll be here for 3 years. She's our only permanent resident here that is a sea turtle. She's definitely a little sassy chick, I'll tell you that much. She also had some neurological issues when she got hit by that boat. I know she's being sassy and not looking at you guys, but she has like a crack in her shell up here as well. She knows it's feeding day, so she's like, what are you doing?
Where is
She's
it?
like, you're standing at my tank with no food, I don't like this. I like Kim's Ridley. They have more of like a dinosaur look to them. They're really cute. And they actually nest here on the Gulf Shore. So.
Oh wow.
This pretty thing. Sassy, sassy. Comes this way.
Way down there in the corner. See him? Oh, you're so heavy. He's down there. He can't really see.
See if he comes up. He's gonna come on up and say hello. So this loggerhead is not full grown. Despite the fact that he's almost bigger than Matilda, he still has a lot of growing room. Loggerheads get pretty large. Unlike Matilda, their life expectancy is a lot longer. Hers is only 60 to 70 years, and she's a smaller species. His is about 80 to 100 years. So these guys eat sea spines, and he's the one that got all that stuff congested in his system. So he got washed up on the beach. We actually had to give him surgery because he was really malnourished and dehydrated because his system was so clogged with those sea spines. So we gave him surgery, and now he's doing a lot better. I don't know if you can see it, that little white thing on his shell right there. That's what's called a barnacle. Hey, buddy. These little bumps right here, they're called barnacles. They're small organisms that live on their shell, and he also has a lot of algae. Usually that indicates that they are not doing well because they're not moving around enough. When they're moving around properly, those barnacles fall off, and they also, he will bite your finger off, I'll tell you that much. They don't have teeth, but they could easily bite your finger off. I would not stick your hands in the water. But once that algae starts falling off and the barnacles start falling off, that it means that they're a lot better. He had so many barnacles. You see that area of his shell that's finally not covered in algae or barnacles? His entire shell was covered, and even had some on top of his head.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he was crazy, but he's doing way better. As you can see, he's a lot more mobile than he was.
So he's eventually releasable then?
Oh yeah, he'll be releasable. We were just waiting for him to get back on his feet per se, you know, because he didn't eat or drink for such a long period of time. And we unclogged his system, so he should be all good to go. All of our turtles will get released except Matilda. She's the only one that won't be released. I actually have another Kim's Ridley right over here. This Kim's Ridley washed up on the beach. She's actually super malnourished right now and very, very underweight. But she is missing her front left flipper and her back right flipper. And they're not quite sure what happened to her. She came in like that. When she washed up on the beach, she was really, really sick. And we got her from the Sea Turtle Patrol I was telling you guys about, the pins. And when she came in, we noticed that she wasn't coming up to breathe in deep water. So for a very, very long time, probably like a month, we had to put her in a little tub. I mean, a very large tub, so she could move around, you know what I mean? Because she's pretty big. But very, very shallow water, just enough where she could stick her head out of the water and, you know, take a breath and then chill out. They can hold their breath up to like 3 hours or so, depending on the turtle. Just like I can probably hold mine for like 30 seconds and someone else for like 2 minutes long. So it also differentiates with them. But she is finally in deep water. This is the deepest water that she's been in. She's doing better. She's finally eating. But she's not eating as well as we want her to, so she's going to be here just a little bit longer. We're not quite sure when she'll get released, but we're moving towards it.
Nice.
That's a green sea turtle, like the ones in Nemo. So I believe we have 3 in this tank. Yeah, 3. They're all coming up to say hi. One of them is recovering from a shell injury. He got hit by a boat, so he has a large crack in his shell. Usually you can indicate it's a boat because it's such a straight line. The other ones in here are waiting for surgery. They have FP, what's called fibril papilloma. It's these benign tumors that grow on their skin and on their eyelids and stuff like that. So they're waiting for surgery. We either burn or laser it off. And then we keep them just a little bit longer because the burns have to heal, and then we release them. That guy back there is the one with the shell injury. I don't know if you can see that straight line.
Yeah.
Luckily, their shells do grow back. They're made out of keratin, like what your hair and nails are made out of. And that white area is kind of where his shell is starting to fill back in. It won't grow back perfectly, but we like curvy, so it's all right.
That's right.
We don't have any right now, but we had quite a few that had shark attacks. Sometimes the shark will go up and bite them, but it's like throwing a pistachio in your mouth without taking the shell off, so they usually just spit it right back out. But sometimes they'll get their whole flipper. We had one that had 2 shark attacks. He's missing his front flipper and a large portion of his shell in the back. It was pretty crazy.
Oh my goodness.
He ended up getting released. He had a air pocket, so he wasn't able to submerge for a long time, but a lot of times that air pocket will pass through because it's like a pocket in their lung. And funny enough, sometimes they just have to pass gas, and then they'll be able to submerge themselves.
Oh wow.
But Matilda, the way that her whole shell floats up like that, she has a very large air pocket in her shell.
Yeah.
Look, this one's right up front. They're saying hello.
So they like lettuce, huh?
They do. So juveniles usually eat like jellyfish, squid, they'll eat fish. But the adults usually eat stuff like seagrass, like they'll graze on seagrass. It's like sea cattle, you know. So we give them lettuce. There's
Probably
a
not a
couple
whole
of them that are stubborn and won't eat the lettuce, so they get special stuff like squid or fish. We give them like cigar minnows or like sardines or something like that.
Okay, come here.
This is our last turtle tank.
Hold on, don't touch the tank. Come here.
So these guys are all waiting for surgery as well. I don't know if you see them. Right over there, I think we have 3. Oh, there's one right below you as well. So these guys, you can really see their tumors. And they're not sure why that's happening. It really started in 2010, and only green sea turtles get it, and that's why it's so intriguing. Some people assume that it's water quality. Some people assume it's global warming. You know, it can be a lot of different things. But since they haven't been able to do a lot of research, since it's been such a short period of time, they can't pinpoint exactly what's causing it. And green sea turtles are actually very social, so they're always grazing together and rubbing up against each other. So it spreads like wildfire for these guys, and that's why we keep them separated from the non-FC turtles. But Matilda, she became released, so she couldn't even get it. It's only green sea turtles. It's very weird.
And there's a big one.
But all these guys will get it either lasered or burned off. The ones on their eyes, like this guy, these are actually really bad. Those are actually going to get cut off, which is kind of sad because a lot of times it'll come back when you cut it off because you can't get it, like the last cell out of there. But the other ones get burned or laser off.
So those tumors hinder what they normally do in the wild?
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily like hurt them physically, but it'll like exhaust them. They're not able to like feed themselves properly or get away from like sharks or other predators. It'd be like having a basketball attached to your arm and just doing everyday tasks, you know what I mean? Like it's just something that's in the way. And sometimes they get so large that they won't be able to use one of their fins, or we don't have any right now. We actually gave surgery to that one, but he had one like on his back flipper, between his flipper and his shell, and it was literally like this big.
Oh,
It
wow.
was ginormous. So when they get that large and they continue to grow, it just makes it hard for them to get around and catch food and stuff like that. You need your shell cleaned, buddy. And all these guys are rather young. The oldest one is going to be that big one that has a tumor on the shoulder. But like ones like that are very, very small. He's probably not even 10 years old. This one is probably about 10 to 15. And then the larger one I would say is about 20. These guys are actually also endangered of becoming a same-sex species. They're temperature-dependent sex determination species, so whatever their temperature is that's surrounding the eggs, decides if it'll be female or male. So right now they're birthing like 80 to 90% females because the temperatures are rising. There was actually a study in Cape Cod that I was reading about that 97% of their breeding ground was female.
Wow.
And females only usually breed about every 3 years, and they actually store sperm as well, so it can go even longer.
Interesting.
They're like, I don't need no man.
Exactly.
Oh boy. Turtle Beyonce. Okay.
Yeah, he went down there and stopped.
Chip is a rock squirrel. He's right there about to jump in his house. A little
Oh.
scared, I guess. So rock squirrels are a little different than your average squirrels. They're a lot darker. They almost look like little chinchillas to me, and they're fluffier. These guys only live 1 to 2 years in the wild and 10 years in captivity, but this guy is 12. So he's like
wow.
our senile little old man.
Holy cow, the skeeter's falling into some.
Oh, I'm so sorry. They get me every single day.
Well, I forgot that I needed to put the bug spray on this morning because it was outside.
This is our Texas tortoises, our female Texas tortoises.
Look.
So the little one's name is Frida. This is Lewis, and this is Clark. Would you like to pet Lewis? You can touch her shell.
You want to touch it?
She can feel it. They have nerve endings in their shell, so they can feel it, like if I touched your hand or if your back. Sometimes we'll get a toothbrush and scratch their shell, and they'll close their eyes and get all
Aw.
tired. It's so cute.
Heaven.
Oops, sorry, buddy. So Lewis came to us because she got attacked by a predator, so she's missing her right arm. Do you know how to tell the difference between a turtle and a tortoise?
It's something to do with their shell, isn't it?
One's in the water.
So since turtles are in the water, they have flippers, but tortoises have feet, so they
Oh.
cannot swim. Frida and then Clark over here,
I see it.
they were
It's
brought to
something
us because somebody wanted to keep them as pets, and Texas tortoises are actually illegal to keep as pets, so they got abducted. Not abducted, what's the word?
Confiscated?
Confiscated, there you go. Confiscated, so that they were brought here after they're confiscated, and if you don't know where they were picked up from, there's this thing called roaming tortoise syndrome, so they'll roam for their food, water, and shelter until they find it or they don't. So they bring them here. These are all of our forever babies. This is Sully. He's our male Texas tortoise. He's a sassy man. The same thing happened with him. And a lot of times when people try to domesticate them, we can't release them anyway because they get used to be a sweet cat.
Right.
And then this is Boris. Boris is a pineapple Russian tortoise, and he's very territorial, so I would not pet this guy. Usually he'll run after my feet, but he's like, I just woke up. I'm not in the mood.
Nope.
It's like, what is going on? He's a pineapple Russian tortoise. One day he was being so sassy with me. I was giving my tour. I thought that he wasn't going to chase my feet that day, so I was standing here talking about him, and he came up and bit through my shoe.
Ow!
Luckily, I was wearing tennis shoes that day. Rest in peace to my Nikes. You had a big
Right?
hole in them.
Oh no.
You not feeling sassy today? He's like, no. Doesn't he look like a pineapple? I think so. I also got some birdies over here, some nice raptor birds I can show you guys. Artie is a crested caracara. She's also known as the Mexican eagle. She's on the Mexican flag. She was even on the Mexican flag, or is, excuse me. She got hit by a car, so her left wing got dislocated, and unfortunately when that happens and we don't get them right away to fix the injury, we can't do anything because it'll heal improperly. And their bone structure is very, very intricate, so we would mess up another bone trying to go around the cartilage and stuff like that. So Artie is actually a romantic bird, so they mate for life. They usually find a mate and they stay together forever, and if there's a third one, it's usually their baby. They usually reside in wetlands, so they're also in Florida and of course Mexico, obviously around here. And they're also scavengers, so they hunt on the ground. She looks like she's got chicken legs, but she's actually very strong. She's kind of intimidating when she jumps off her perch. A little bit. She just like lands. It's crazy. She doesn't even use her wings.
Oh, wow.
So this is Soren. Soren is a barn owl. He just turned 1. We've actually had him for 1 year. So Soren was brought into us with his siblings from a lady that tried to take care of him herself, and she was feeding him just chicken. And birds like this have to have calcium, so they have to have anything with bones. So they have to eat whatever that meat is with bone in it. Because if they don't have that calcium, their bones won't develop. So they developed what's called angel wing, where their bones are really, really brittle and they break easily. He was the only one out of his siblings that made it because the other ones would just stand on the perch and their legs would break. So we had to euthanize him. It was sad. I know, it was so sad. But since he was the biggest one, his bones had already developed a little bit when she started feeding him like non-bone products or whatever. So he made it through. His bones are still pretty fragile, but not bad enough. Like he can still kind of fly a little bit and get around without breaking a bone. Now Soren is my absolute favorite. I don't know if it's because I like Harry Potter or if I just think he's handsome. One of the two. He always reminds me of Harry Potter. I even get to do some bird trainings with him, but he's been very sassy with me.
Uh-oh.
Very sassy. I had one of our snakes out yesterday, and he screeched at me so loud. He does not like snakes.
Oh.
Alright, I'm going to meet you guys up at this window.
Okay.
The turtle.
There is a turtle in there. Wow.
So our first animal is Smiley. He's a diamondback
Right there.
terrapin.
Go back over there.
Hi, Smiley.
Look, come here. He's
He
like,
just
let me
right up to
out.
you.
Look at you. So Smiley was born in captivity, and one of our volunteers was actually overfeeding him. He's on a diet. He
Oh.
can't fit the shell anymore. It's really funny when he runs on the ground with his little shell hanging out. It's really cute. But then he looks like he's smiling. You know he's a terrapin because
Get
and you can tell he's
no.
diamondback because he has a black diamond on top of his head. Should be called diamond head
Get
terrapin.
him
We
out.
can't get him. You can't touch him.
I know. She'll even let me stab me. So it's really
It's a
hot
big
out.
cat.
We have we call it sprinkler time, where we have this little sprinkler go off, and she just runs in circles and literally gets to see. It's the funniest thing.
Look.
And they fall out like hair and grow back. So it's pretty cool.
Wow. That's one of those quills. That's what's on the porcupine. The grandpa fillet.
Sometimes she can be a little bipolar. I can't tell what she wants. Because when she's mad, she puffs her quills up, you know, like in a big half moon. But she also does that when she's excited. So when she's running around with the zoomies, her quills are puffed up. We gotta kind of stay back out of her range, you know what I mean? Thank you, honey. Even when I bring her food in, she'll come running to the door with her quills up. I literally like hop across this way. So I'm like, back it up, girl. Like, you're still prickly. Like,
Right? Yes. Oh my goodness.
alrighty, I'll meet you guys out there. Who are all the way in the back, so I'm not moving.
Like it's cooler back here.
She's like better than the zoo because she'll go get the animals when they're hiding.
I'm only gonna get one. This is Columbo. Columbo is a red-footed tortoise. Woo! Spicy outside. It's a little warm.
It is warm.
So Columbo and then Regina's back there. I don't know.
Hurry up. Watch out. He'll pinch you. You see him in there?
I found the sail.
Yeah, but see, everything that's on him is alive. All of these are shells. Those conch shells.